page. And we are live. All right, hold on one second. Let me share this. Oh, one second. Let me just grab it from the page and share it. All right, and we shall be good. All right. All right, sir. And we are on.
We on?
We're on. We're live. So, folks, before I can say good afternoon, good evening, I have to first say, when are we going to overcome Black folks time?
You know what, dude? I'm gonna let you have this. Go ahead and take it. Go ahead and take this right here. Go ahead and take this.
Time now, but hey, it is what it is. Mr. Ford, he's doing what he do. Nah, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is.
I had to address some technical difficulties on my end to make sure that people could see me and hear me.
It's cool. It's cool, man.
But it's okay. Everybody has their day. I want all that.
You gonna come for me, right?
Bring that. I want all that.
Right. So everybody, this right here, even though we are continuing with the the interviewing process of the up close and personal versions with the personal authors that have contributed to the book, You Say You Love Me, but Do You Respect Me? Mr. Ford being one of those contributors, he wrote a chapter in the book. It was entitled Undermining. But before we can get into any of that, this feels really nostalgic. Those of you that don't know, Adam Ford is also my co-compadre on my podcast, Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. So in that space, some of the guys that are in the book, we've all worked and weaved through different avenues of working together before. So it's an awesome experience for us to all get together and lend the pen, as I make it, and come up with something that's great and kind of come from the heart on this type of subject. Now, funny thing, I don't know about you, but before this whole ask about this book came up from P. Coffee, I look at relationships from all sorts of angles, right? I see a lot, experience a lot, been there, done that, the whole thing. So I have a different purview. But when she brought up the respect, perspective, I was just like, well, okay, I'm like, all right, because then not only did she bring up respect, but had broken it all down on all these chapters and all these different, angles of it. They're all connected, but it lets you know how deep and intricately made up us men are. Mm-hmm. We're very intricate, and I think a lot of times it's not as cut and dry as people think. Oh, you the man, ain't you? Do this, do that, what you're supposed to do, and that's it. But there's more to what goes in the work behind him to get him to do all of these things. And so that's why I think this is all timely and it's good to talk about. For sure.
Yeah, well, to just kind of speak to what you just said, I think nowadays in our times, we're realizing that men are more emotionally nuanced than we have given them credit for in the past.
Yeah.
And what I mean by saying that is that fact that men have emotions.
Absolutely.
The fact is, our spectrum of emotions is just as broad and as far ranging as women's emotions are. We just don't have anger. Okay, we just don't get angry. Right. You know what I'm saying? There is more to us than what you see.
Right.
And often we are not given the credit for having the broad range of emotions that we have, because we only allow ourselves to be seen in one particular light or one particular aspect. And unfortunately, it has hindered us in a large part in terms of being men that are mature, men that are emotionally aware, mentally stable, able to operate within a relationship with all of our being instead of just one aspect of who we are. And so it's important that men are able to tap into the full range of emotions that we actually have, not just one.
Correct.
Angry man, all the time.
Yeah. Because nowadays, you're right. And I kind of referenced in my chapter, you kind of coming down the lane of some things I wrote about, but I said, in this day and time, you've like for years, you've heard women speak about men not communicating their feelings, or he won't talk, or he just won't say anything, and all this thing. And so now in this era, like if you can just about scroll through any social media platform and you see tons of men talking, you know, and it's like men are, I guess for lack of better words, they're all in their feelings, right? So they're talking, and there's been a new day. It's been a shift for certain. And men are just like, you know, speaking on, I guess, the way they see, you know, women kind of moving more or less resemblance to them in terms of confidence, in terms of a way that they casually handle men, the way that they can deal with things that in times past, it's not that there was anything new or different. It's just that women changed the way they performed. Now it's just more open and in your face and like, whatever, deal with it. And I think men are, without saying it, men are taking a psychological issue with it. They're just not necessarily telling the woman to her face, but they're just like, what in the world is happening in this world? I'm supposed to be doing that, not you. You know, it's kind of one of those things that it's what it is. It's like the clock has turned.
Yeah.
And it's on us. It's like the world has turned around. You know how they always say things, what goes around comes around. Well, it just came back around tenfold. And I don't think men were ready for what we are witnessing today. That's
yeah. I would definitely agree. And you talk about some hot takes, some hot button issues that are occurring right now in terms of men and women relationships, in terms of, okay, and I'm gonna say this, and I know we're probably gonna get some feedback or some pushback on it. Women becoming more masculine, okay, and then, you know, on the flip side of that, let's be fair, men becoming more feminine.
Yes.
Okay. You know, and my question is this. My question is this: when are we, as a people, as a whole, going to find that middle ground? When are we going to be balanced in how we portray ourselves? Because we have a tendency, as I like to say sometimes, we have a tendency to swing on that pendulum. You know, either we're swinging all the way to the left, or we're swinging all the way to the right. And these are extreme poles. Nobody, I don't want to live all the way to the left. I don't want to live all the way to the right. The reality is, it's about a balanced life. Okay. And so I'm gonna say something, and I want us to be challenged on this. How about we learn how to balance our emotions? How about we learn how to balance our mentality? How about we learn how to balance our disposition in regards to some things, and not become so extreme, you know, in terms of how we conduct and how we behave ourselves. You know, I think balance is the key to everything in life, you know. And so it's important that we, you know, not go too far to the left and too far to the right, but learn how to do that balance. And I know I'm saying it's easier said than done. It's you know, it's a high wire act. You're balancing yourself, and you're literally walking across this line without a net, without a safety net to fall back on. And so, but it's a matter of us figuring out how to live this life, how to live our lives in a balanced manner, and that includes our emotions and our relationships.
I think, you know, kind of throwing an olive branch to the sisters, right? I think personally, now women do communicate more so through their emotions.
Yes, they do.
Men, it's like women go in one direction, men, we go in the opposite towards shutdown. Women are opening, we closing. And so, as I think, to your point, to get in the posture to try to start to move in a positive direction is, I would love to see, before a woman reacts, she just says, hey, can we talk for a second? I'm kind of feeling this way. I'm not kind of sure how am I going to spiral, but this is where I am. Can we talk about it? And because sometimes the ask for the conversation comes when they're already swirling. And at that point, he's closing, she's fluttering like an airplane flying, it's a wrap. But if both sides, so if she does her part, and if the guy is like, okay, I'm not going to go into the whole I'm going to avail myself to talk to you and actually hear you out, not ignore you, so that we can work towards a resolve. Because we good for being like, yeah, okay, you finished, all right. We're not really listening at all. We're like, yeah, wow, that's it. But if we listen and retain it and apply it towards some sort of change, that works. But getting to that point to get two people to actually comprehend that truth and put it in action is a whole nother problem. You know,
yeah, dude, you
yeah, that's all.
I mean, the whole aspect that you actually started out on the woman's side to say, hey, girl,
it's totally
why don't you preempt the problem, okay, that we're about to have? Go to your man and say blah 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 in order to diffuse the situation before the situation happens.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
How realistic is that? I know what you want. I know it's the ideal. I get that. I understand that. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, so I will say this though. I think there are some, and I'm going to come from the man's perspective. I think there are some cues that we ought to be able to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Coming from our spouse. Okay.
Yeah.
If we know our spouse as well as we say that we know them, then it becomes somewhat incumbent upon us to act proactively to say, hey, something seems a little off with you today. You okay? That might be the door opener to discussing whatever the potential issue might be. Now, I'm not going to say that 100% of the time it's going to solve the situation, because they may not feel like they want to talk about it at that particular point in time. But at least you've made the move to open the door to say, hey, before this becomes a real issue, or before you blow up for whatever the issue is, let's have a sit down and let's discuss this. So I'm kind of on the side of, okay, I'm not going to sit by and wait for it to happen.
Okay.
I'm going to actually act proactively and kind of see if I can head it off at the pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what? You're definitely gambling the dice, because depending on what headspace that partner is in, you got to remember, we live in the era of petty, right? And so sometimes people want you to just take that petty ride with them. Even it's like they're taking you on a ride, whether you want to go or not. You might be over there saying, hey, is everything okay? I mean, you didn't return my text. You were quiet. You're not really saying nothing. What's going on?
Yeah.
Like knowing you like you don't exist. You sitting there like, So you got to kind of be quiet and suck it up until they come around to want to talk. And then look, me, know who I am, type person I am. They come, then when you're ready to talk, I'll be back. I know I'm petty again, so it doesn't work.
So you ain't gonna say that. You're gonna say the exact
some kind of way. So because the petty thing is prevalent, because at the end of the day, it's like an arm wrestling match. Nobody wants to lose the petty war. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so if we can get beyond that and just say, look, we don't got to go through all this. I know I did this, or you know you did this. Let's talk about it and hash it out in an ideal world, right?
Okay. Right. I mean, I guess the thing would be, okay, nobody wants to lose the petty war. Nobody wants to be the queen or the king of the petty kingdom, but a lot of times we are.
That's it. We got a whole crown, we don't see it.
On our head, I am the king of the petty kingdom.
That's it. People take pride in the petty thing. The petty thing is enjoying. Yeah.
Oh, God. But you know what? I think, if you really want the most out of your relationship, if you really want to optimize the dynamic of your relations with your person, it's important that you have a moment of personal growth. Don't indulge yourself with the pettiness.
Yeah.
You see the pettiness there, but kind of don't indulge in that. Go in the opposite direction and engage that person on a level where you're just trying to have a basic conversation with them to find out what's going on with them, and to say, hey, again, I see something that's happening. I'm not sure what it is. If you can put words to it at this point in time, that would be good, because I want you to understand that you're not in this by yourself. I want to help you solve this. I want to help you navigate through this so that we can move on from this point. So we don't have, so there doesn't become an atomic bomb and blow us all. you know?
Yeah. And you have to know your person to know that sometimes, wow, let's just take you, for instance. I could see you totally being the person to say, hey, can we have a moment? Right. But depending on the person you're dealing with, some people, those words you say is like lighting a match. So sometimes you got to use the wisdom. I've learned that sometimes silent gestures work better than calling somebody to the carpet. Like, meaning you and that person could be in a funky kind of space where the energy is off or what have you, and somebody's being petty or whatever. So let's just say it's morning time. You go out, you buy that person the breakfast that you know they always want, right? You bring it, you sit it, and you go on about doing what you're doing with your work, but you don't say nothing. But the fact that you were thoughtful goes a long way. If you do a little small little gestures without saying anything, the person, at least, even if they're being petty, they're like, get on my nerves. You know I love him. You know, I'm just making a point to say that you are at least still trying to, you're getting in the ring to fight with them necessarily, with not just sitting in the bleachers being petty. You're at least attempting to be strategic about fixing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And along with that too, I think it's also important that you are aware of your timing in terms of how to address issues, because this might not necessarily be the right time, you know. But pick the time that you think would be the most advantageous to help you, you know. I guess help you figure out what the problem is. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, you know, and if all else fails, if you're a married person, you just take off your belt and say, "Now that's it. I'm going to cheat. This is the way to win." No.
Jesus.
Is this
thing live? I'm about to get over this.
We're gonna get over this, all right? Come on, let's get over it now. There's always a way to cheat and get around it, but no, but seriously, man.
Dude, you making it hard for everybody, man. You making it hard for everybody.
We're in a jacked up, we're just in a, it's funny, but it's embarrassing how the state of just like the state of, you know, whether it's dating, whether it's not even, you can't even say, like, we can't even say no more in too many scenarios. Once upon a time, you would hear the married folks saying, well, that's y'all out there. Y'all doing all that crazy stuff. Now the lines have been blurred, crossed. It's hectic. Yeah. So anybody who has something that works and it works for just you two, that's a perfect scenario. You know, when I say just you two, there is no more aides aiding your situation. There are no crutch people coming in your back door. There is no alternative pallets being fed. All those things. That says a lot today, because nowadays people are constructing assistance on top of their unions, and they're making that as an excuse to keep the union alive. Like, you crazy? You better let me have 3 girls and downstairs in the basement. Are you crazy? But I always tell, even though I'm a man, this is what I always tell women. You ever find yourself in a situation where someone is introducing to you the 3rd, 4th, 5th party into the situation, make no mistake about it. Tell that man, okay, we can do this. Can I bring Jerry and Tom over here? I bet you the game will be over that minute. Yeah, no man wants to be anywhere with something else swinging besides himself. Nobody. You want to be somewhere with your person, and that's it. So some of these things, if you want to combat them and get over them, because I believe some people are agreeing to these ships, as I call them, because people feel it is the trending thing to do. And if it's going to at least give me a little more peace at night to sleep, because now you have told me, then I'll do it. But at the end of the day, whether I tell you or not, it's still wrong. It's still so deceptive. If I met you at the mall and says, hey, you were so fat, oh my God, can I take you out? You got a ring on your finger. I know, but she know all about it. But I just want you to know that this is between me and you. She already understands. It don't make the marriage any less notable. It's just nowadays, honesty is the new deceit. And that's what's happening. We're being honest behind our deceit, but it's not changing the fact that it's deceit. It's still deceit. But yeah, it's
That's crazy, dude. I mean, okay, first of all, let me say this. I'm so glad I'm married right now. I don't even know what to do with myself.
That
Type of foolishness and tomfoolery is occurring today. Dude, I'm so glad I'm married. I either be married or single for the rest of my life. I'm not
guess
what?
Change it and say I'm married the way that I am, because there are marriages that are operating dysfunctionally.
That's true.
You gotta know that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But I wouldn't even consider that a marriage. I think that's a straight up cop out. You know what I'm saying? You got all these different crutches, all these different secondary, tertiary mechanisms to help support your inability to be completely committed to the person that you're with in order to continue to facilitate the deceit and the duplicitousness that you are portraying on your spouse. Are you kidding me right now?
But I'm gonna tell you what it is. We have become programmed by various outlets of influence that satisfaction no longer exists between two.
Wow.
We need all sorts of other things to augment what's happening in order to just exist. We forget about saying happy. To just exist, I need this.
Wow.
You know, happy is a whole nother drug in itself. But to exist, I need these additional plugins to work to keep a certain aroma around my marriage. Give me these plugins or my relationship. Heck, they doing it at different levels now. That's where we at. So it's like it's scary, man.
Yeah. As I've said in the past, and I will continue to say, I don't want no parts of that. I don't want nothing to do with that. I want to be so far away from that, because the reality is being in a relationship already takes work with the one person that I'm with. That takes all of my energy, all of my mental resources, all of my emotions. And now I got to sit here and divvy it up between 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 others that I need to entertain and keep them happy so that they don't leave, so that I don't feel like I'm getting all that I need to get from the one particular person that I'm with. And now I have to augment the relationship. What? That sounds like too much work. Let me let you know something. I'm a lazy person. I'm gonna find the most efficient way to work the thing that I got so that I don't have to put any more effort into it. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that thing is optimized. Okay, so I can just push that button. I'm in good. All this other extra doodads you got connected to this thing, that's a hot mess. That is a hot mess.
But you know, and the reason why I say it's a psychological thing is because some of this stuff is as simple as people are being in relationships and or marriages and doing what we all do every day is you get up and scroll. So as you're scrolling, you're looking to say, look what he bought his wife this. He took her here. He did this, something as minute as that then transfers over into your side. Now it's like, well, what's happening here? And how come that can't be duplicated or turned to another level over here? And in some cases, we forget to realize, first of all, a lot of things on social media are deliberately placed in front of you. And some people, I mean, let's just be honest. We all, whenever we go before the camera, whether it's a video or a picture, that's why people say, wait, get my best side, because they know there's an insecurity associated to the other side. So my point is, we do that for all things that we present, but we allow ourselves to get influenced by that and then transfer that to our partner, whether it be men or women, because the men might say, why you don't dress like her? You keep wearing them church clothes. Look at your friend. You know, it could be anything, right? But those influence cross lines, and then it causes problems in your home. So a lot of people are arguing not over the dysfunction of their relationship, but over the fact that they've been influenced by something else that has bothered them. And it makes no sense. You know how I feel about social media. It can be a positive thing. It can be a positive thing, but unfortunately, as people tend to do, we've allowed it to become this negative thing. You know, where it influences us to be our worst selves, worst versions of ourselves.
Yeah, man. And I look, first of all, I'm not going to take I'm not going to take what I see on social media to be the truth or even to be reality, because you can do so many different things to pictures to make them seem like they're one thing when in reality they're actually something else. So many different filters, so many different edits that you can do with your picture and with your snapshot, and you're only posting what you want people to know, what you want them to perceive you as, but the reality is completely different. And again, this whole snapshot idea is the reality that I can take a picture of my life at this particular moment in time, but that does not mean that that's the totality of my life.
The whole picture.
One picture out of the rest of 365 days, 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. You got one picture from one moment, and that's the totality of. No, sir, I don't believe that, and I'm not going to even allow that to influence me in any way possible.
Yeah, I think if we're going, and this may be a far cry, but I think if we're going to have a chance at trying to reset life to some sort of normalcy in the relationship and love space, we have to regain control over our discipline with social media.
Yeah,
you have to be able to unplug purposefully and go do you. If you stay plugged into this matrix of social media, it's messing up everything. I mean, to me, it's like it almost makes you feel like the powers that be are creating this funnel of a bubble of chaos purposely, because there's a business that streams from chaos. Whether it's TV, drama TV, divorce, all sorts of things that run revenue up. They're keeping these things going in front of people because the entertainment is in the dysfunction. And so what's happening is that we are finding ourselves, you can't tell me that you're going to have people that are in functioning relationships, functioning marriages, and can survive off of a 365-day diet of social media. It's no way. I was saying this yesterday. You're on these sites and you look like the things that we are seeing now openly. It's just like porn. It's just further than that. It's just like people are just pretty much naked, and even the best intentions of people are not going to be able to stomach those things on the daily and have good behavior with their partner.
Right.
Because you're going to begin to look at your partner. You're going to start your nature is going to become more animalistic because you're remembering what you saw earlier, what that person had on, and now you are kind of punishing your person because even though they're there for you to deal with, but they're not presenting the way that you're desiring. So now there's that abusive mechanism coming in there. But the point is, people are getting angry because there are, social media also presents all of these psychological file cabinets in your life. So it's you, your partner. Social media allows you to open up different drawers, DM, save, download, do this. This. You can go on. This is an era where you can pretty much travel anywhere in the United States and have a hookup waiting because of social media. Anywhere. I mean, you can go on a work trip. Oh, I'm going to see my cousin. Let me get on the app and swipe. I'll see you over there at 8:00. Anywhere you go, and the day has changed so much. Forget about the days of let's go get some dinner and a movie. Now it's we connecting. Oh, you look cute. Where we staying at? It's cut to the chase. It's no more of the other stuff.
It's more romance.
Connecting. We know what it is. Let's get to it. And it's a whole different day. It's something, man.
You know what? Really I'm going to say this, and I'm probably not going to win no people. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to lose some people when I say this. And it's going to be I love. But okay, so social media is what I consider to be something as a tool. It's a mechanism at the end of the day. It was developed by technologists and everything like that to give us the ability to be able to connect with other people around the world, to reconnect with people that we have lost contact with. And so it's a tool. But here's the thing. So the tool can only do what the person using it wants it to do. Think about that for a minute. The tool can only do what it's being used to do. The tool doesn't make the decision. You make the decision as you're the one that's using the tool. So my question is this: where are you in terms of you developing your own level of personal discipline not to engage in the things that you know will lead you astray?
But Adam, the powers that be already are aware of the irresponsible individuals that mishandle the tool. That's the why they push it, because they know people will not win this. You're not going to win. You know how smart social media is. You get on there, and let's keep it a bug, right? We're men. You attracted to the opposite sex, whether you're in a relationship, marriage or not. You're not blind. You can see. You can scroll and be like, And this is how smart social media is. You may not say nothing. You may not add friend, but if you click on that picture, you know what? AI is so smart. It'll now recreate what you clicked on, and now will send other women or men in your direction on your feed as add friend that look all similar to your type. Ask me how I know, because I'll do it at work. So people do this. It's purposeful. It is purposefully put in front of you to chew like a pallet. It's put in front of you for you to fall over it, collapse, and make a mistake.
So we about to come to blows on this one. So you're trying to tell me that with all of the stuff that social media puts in front of you, all of the different things that it uses, algorithms to predict your behavior based off past choices, that you now have relinquished your agency to choose freely as to what you want to do. So now all of the responsibility of choice and decision is no longer yours. Now it's all in the algorithm. It's all on the social media. Is that what you're saying to me right now? Because the reality is, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Welcome to the power of dopamine. That's what it is. It's the repetitive mantra in your mind that you get attached to. And even though the best of us who have common sense know better, even have experienced pitfalls, so you know what doesn't feel good, what doesn't work out good for your marriage, your situation, your relationship, and yet and still, I cut myself. What am I going to do? Did somebody see me? Let me cover the Band-Aid. You get my drift? So my point is, that's where we are. And it's just like, so that's why I said, to be able to have half a chance, not only one of you in a relationship, but both of you have to say, hey, maybe we've taken in enough. Let's go ahead and let's drop off for a little bit and kind of reset. Because if you get too into it, it will corrupt even the innocent. Somebody who may not even have those kind of, because what it does is, to me, it perfectly exposes your deficiencies, where you are deficient, where you are weak, where you are inadequate, where there is a lack. Social media is filling it, those gaps through that eye and ear gate. And so that's what's messing us up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so again, I'm gonna go back to my original analogy. So you're trying to tell me this tool that I have in my hand is controlling me, and I have no agency to be able to decide what I will and won't do. Nobody's making you scroll. And I understand the dopamine aspect of it. I understand the satisfaction and the gratification that comes from scrolling and clicking and doing all these things. I totally understand that. But you're trying to tell me that we are no longer responsible for our actions? That we have no say so in terms of so this is what I'm saying, and I think you've kind of already alluded to the fact that you need to make a choice as to what you're going to do. You need to make a choice in regards to your relationship with the person that you're with. That either you are going to side with the dark side, if you will, of social media, or you're going to side with, hey, I'm going to build my relationship in the best way possible.
That's it.
And decide I'm not going to allow anything or anybody else to change the course or the direction of the relationship that I'm in. Because let's be honest, before social media, we had family and friends that were trying to influence our relationships.
Yeah, for sure. Okay?
We had other things that were trying to influence and control our relationships. But again, at the end of the day, the responsibility is ours. The decision, the power of the decision is ours, whether we're going to decide to do something or not decide to do something. All social media has done is made it that more easier to access. All social media has done is put it at our fingertips to say, hey, now that we don't even have to walk out the door to find it. We can find it right on our phones. We can go right on our computers and our tablets and pull it up just as easily. So now we don't even have to go outside. We can do it inside.
And that is the whole, now you are proving my point as to the whole initiative is to create an environment of comfort, because what comes after comfort is sleep. So the whole point is to put you to sleep so that you are susceptible to fall into the dreams and actions of what are being programmed in our minds by social media. That's what's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In other words, we're saying the same thing, just on different sides of the bridge. But the point I'm making, what I'm saying is there has to be a vigilant fight by both parties to live for it and push it forward to make it work. If you don't, especially, it doesn't make sense for one person to be like, I'm going to take a month off from this and chill out. And then your partner is steady taking it in, because all that's going to happen is when you come back, where you been, babe? I haven't seen all of this. I'm having a good time. And you like, you didn't learn nothing. You didn't learn nothing from the fast, so to speak. So just as it is in the spiritual world, when people fast for spiritual strength, right? You have to do such and such from social media to fast for discipline. You got to discipline in some kind of way. If you don't, I can just be honest. I know for a fact I'm not going to survive if I don't continue to drop in and out of social media, because it's that bad. You understand what I'm saying? I've had enough experiences that caused me to say, and I enjoy doing this. What with you and I love doing this and speaking and all this. Sometimes when it gets a lot, you got to go up and pull the plug for a minute, because it gets to be a lot. So you got to know yourself and know what you can do, because this stuff is serious. For real.
Yeah. Well, you know me, Charles. I don't the social media. Me and social media.
Yeah, you don't do it. You don't really do it. Yeah.
Probably the most you've ever seen me on social media within the last 3 years. Because I don't. This ain't my jam or whatever like that. But when it has a purpose behind it, when there's a direction that we're headed in, when we are trying to achieve a goal and accomplish something that's going to benefit people, absolutely, I'm down for that every single time. But you're right. A lot of times we get all this stuff, and it's funny because so I watch some of the stuff that's on YouTube or whatever like that, and I see so many different things that are happening and people broadcasting their lives, and we see all of the inner workings, all of the shadowy, the dark, the stuff that's happening in their lives. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. What is really going on? This is crazy. Then I turn my phone off and I go back to my real life. You know what I'm saying? Because social media is not my real life.
Yeah.
It ain't nowhere near my real life. My real life does not consist of posts and repost and tweets or whatever we're gonna call it now. My life consists of conversations, phone calls, interacting with people face to face, dealing with people on a daily basis. That's how I build my life and my relationship. So just saying.
Hey, consider yourself blessed to not be
I shout every day.
A part of the robotic trap that's happening, because most people go to bed scrolling, wake up scrolling. If you're a person that go to bed and wake up scrolling, the matrix has a hold on you. The matrix. You just have to be able to say, okay, I need to kind of try something different, because in real life, why not? Maybe even if you went to bed watching the favorite program, throw off your patterns. Wake up, go for a walk. Before you go to bed, go do something else. But try to break that whole addiction, because what it is an addiction. That's really what it is. It's an addiction. It's.
So you went for a walk this morning. You got up and went for a walk this morning, bro.
Yeah.
He out there with the birds and the leaves on the trees. Having an autumn fall walk outside.
You got to say to yourself, hey, now I can't be consumed by this. And you find yourself restless, can't sleep, all sorts of things, because all these things that you are snapshots and visions of things you taken into your spirit, it mess you all up.
Right. True.
But before we get out of here, man, really quickly, because I know we got on a tangent.
That was you. You started.
You know, we hadn't done this in so long. It was like a reunion. But anyway,
we
really
probably need to do this a little more. But anyway,
yeah. Give us a little bit of your train of thought and your logic behind your chapter, Undermining, as it pertains to respect.
Okay. So my whole train of thought in terms of the idea of undermining was to kind of establish the fact that any degree of undermining in any relationship is detrimental to the relationship, because in basic terms, you are undercutting your spouse or your partner by doing things that diminish their effectiveness in the relationship. And when you do that, it causes them to not act so or not to act with certainty in their relationship. You know, it undercuts them, you know. And it really causes them to really kind of like question themselves when you are undermining in a relationship. And to be honest with you, I don't want to be with anybody who's like that. You know, you undermining, that means you got a little duplicity in you. You got a little trickery in you. You kind of, you know, I'm gonna be real leery of you because you kind of you creeping around. Looking like the CIA. You know what I'm saying?
Undermining is like, as they refer to in the streets, undermining, it has become your op. It's opposition. Because I mean, it's like it takes it back to those old movies, Sleeping with the Enemy. Because basically, while you're sleeping, they're plotting. So I would encourage everybody to kind of understand your partner, to say, are we on the same page? Are we a complement or are we opposition to one another? Because sometimes it's an unspoken. You're with somebody, but you're not with them. You're not for them. You're just with them. And so you be able to see the difference between the two.
Yeah. Well, see, that's where that whole kind of the modern term gaslighting somebody comes from. Your efforts are to literally take this person down and erode them from the inside out, to make them question everything that's around them. That's what undermining comes from. So now the person who's in the relationship no longer operates on the level that they used to. They're not as efficient in the relationship as they used to be, because you're sitting there making them question whether or not if they are doing the right thing, you know? And again, like I said earlier, part of undermining has to do with the fact that you want this person to be so diminished in their functioning that now you can supplant them or basically replace them in the relationship.
And manipulate you them to the puppet. They can be your puppet after they have
you'll control them and they'll pretty much do whatever it is that you want them to do. But that, again, when you undermine somebody like that and you take them down like that, you no longer want them on the same level with you. And so that's no longer a partner. That's somebody who you have literally exploited so that you can use them for your own means.
Wow. But
that's a dangerous place to be.
But for the life of me, and I know, and I guess I'm just you're preaching to the choir when you say that, but to me, it's like if you are if you're envious of a partner, if you know you don't have the best intentions, like why put yourself together in covenant with somebody? Like, because you gotta live with the person, sleep with them. If you don't like them, I know me personally, I could not dwell nowhere I don't like someone. So I can imagine someone having a plot, or just maybe you just with the person, but in your mind you can't stand them. So why be there? That's my thought. But you know,
well, I think part of it has to do with the fact that so the person may want to be they want to be in a relationship, but often they don't know how to conduct themselves in a good normal relationship, because all of their examples of relationship dynamics have come from toxic places. Previous relationships where they either they were treated that way, they were undermined, or from family relationships where the parents undermined each other. And so that was the model and the template by which all other relationships fell into the mold as. So when they approach present day relationships, this is all that they know. all that they know is to undercut the other person and to control the other person. Because when I'm in control of the other person, when I manipulate the other person, then I feel this is normal. This is the way it's supposed to be.
You know, and that's a question that you brought up a point that of a question that many of us, if we're honest, we never ask. And that is, when you're meeting someone, we don't ask them, did you grow up with a model? Right. Who was your model? Like, who was your model person? Because that answer will tell you off the bat, not to say to dismiss the person or no deal with them, but it lets you know what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, when you kind of get an understanding that if someone is telling you, yeah, I love love, well, who was your model? Well, you know, I grew up with my grandmother's house and she wasn't always there. So, you know, basically, if you didn't have a model to draw love from, where did it come from? And so, correct. So a lot of times you got to kind of understand a person's origin to really get an understanding of them. But the problem is we're so glossed over in our presentation today. Like, we put so much emphasis on being absolutely irresistible, men or women, so that when you meet people, normal process is aborted in favor of instant gratification. Forget about your past. You sure do look good. Let's go. That's where the train of the thought of today is. You know, people are like, everybody puts so much emphasis in, let me look, let me do all of this. And you got all these pictures going 360s, back, forward, for what? When you meet a person, they're not going to have absolutely no discipline when they meet you, because they're going to only want to explore what they saw. So that's what we got to work on. You know,
we got the whole packaging down. We know how to look. We know how to give them the best side. You know, we know how to turn it on. We know how to glam it up. We know how to dress it up. We know how to make it up. We know how to put it up. We know all these things, you know, to make us to make the physical aspect of ourselves, like you said, irresistible. But see, if we're being honest, that's nothing but a lure. That's a lure. And I'm not saying that a lure is good or bad, but a lure is a lure. It draws you in. It attracts you. It appeals to you. Absolutely. Okay, that's what it's designed to do. The problem comes in is when the lure doesn't meet the expectations of who you are on the inside. You have the packaging on the outside, but the real person on the inside
is
a hot mess. It's a hot mess. You know, and see that it's that person on the inside who operates with the mechanisms of undermining. This is the person that wants to manipulate. This is the person that wants to exploit you. This is the person that did not have the correct model of what a relationship should be. And so when it has the only thing that it has is the undermining, this is how it operates. It does what it does, again, to supplant the other person and to control them in a way to make them feel secure. And to be honest with you, just to kind of get into this a little bit, a lot of undermining comes from people who don't feel secure about themselves. And so in order for them to feel secure about themselves, they feel as though they have to secure the relationship. And the only way I can secure the relationship is to undermine the person that I'm with so that I can control everything around me. It's only then, when I have everything in control around me, that I feel good about me.
So in short, it's really just managing insecurity through undermining. That's really going to come.
That would be at the base of it. That would definitely be at the base of that thing right there. And see, that has to do with you really coming to terms with yourself as to, okay, what are my issues of insecurity? Why don't I feel secure within my own self? What happened to make me not feel secure about myself? And so when I approach these other relationships, how do I get this thing fixed? How do I get this thing remedied so that I don't do this thing anymore?
Man, that was awesome, man. Really good stuff. Remember, y'all, if you get the book, Adam wrote the chapter Undermining. So remember, it's available today. You say you love me, but do you respect me? You could find it online. You could reach out to either of us directly or any of the other writers, and people will give you, their personal pay outlets if you want personally autographed copies of the book. But other than that, sir, man, appreciate your time. I know we both was trying to do things at the same time today, but just getting through this, I thought doing these would be an added bonus to kind of understanding each of the guys, as opposed to just, I know we mean well with our corporate, promos, but it works
Right.
better when people get to know who you are. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Well, everybody, we appreciate you tuning in to this broadcast for this time. Keep an eye out because I'm going to be doing a few more of these with some of the other authors over the coming upcoming days. So just stay tuned. We'll keep promoting them. And thanks again for tuning in. All right, sir. To the
All right,
next. Talk to you later. All right.